Hello again and welcome to Pearl Magazine. Hong Kong is experiencing what many agree is a slow post-pandemic recovery. The government has launched a nightlife campaign involving night markets, food stalls, and live music shows to boost its nighttime economy. In this episode, Pearl Magazine's Tina Jiang meets some stand-up comedians and a comedy club owner to learn more about their efforts to bring back nightlife and laughter to Hong Kong, and also the journey of creating a new comedy market from scratch.
It's Friday night comedy time. Make some noise!
Inside this low-ceilinged basement tucked away in Soho Central, an enthusiastic crowd is here for some laughs.
Oh, thank you all so much. Make some noise for yourselves for getting out here on a Friday night, guys. Make some noise. Get along.
Boston Coe has been a regular at this comedy club. He usually comes with friends.
My friend group are mostly like exchange students. They're new to Hong Kong, most of them. They're from like around the world, and I was like, oh, what's good to do on Friday night other than like drinking or partying? I'm not a fan of like partying, so I was like, let's go to a comedy show, and I always have a good time here.
How's it going? Harry Potter, thank you for coming here tonight.
Fahad Husseini from Pakistan is another regular. He has been here more than 20 times.
Too young, is that right? Oh, you know what? You're useless to me.
The stand-up comedians here are really, really good at what they do. They just know how to make the audience laugh. They know how to engage with the audience. This is the core essence of stand-up comedy, and I can feel it here.
In Singapore, you guys managed to Singaporeianize every international movie. You know that movie Mission Impossible? In Singapore, they don't even call it Mission Impossible. You know what they call it? Mission Cannot Laugh.
Laughter is the best medicine, especially nowadays in this crazy world. We relieve stress, right? When times are tough in the world, there's always a spike in attendance in movies and comedy clubs because people want to be taken out of reality. And that's what we do.
Everybody, Mr. Jamie Gong.
Jamie Gong, a Chinese-American, has been doing stand-up comedy for more than 30 years. He's also the owner of this comedy club.
Growing up in New York City, I used to hate being Chinese, being picked on, the Lower East Side, Manhattan, seen as a minority.
But now he gets on stage and makes fun of that.
Biden just made a speech yesterday, and it's crazy. He's running for president. Him, Trump, craziness, right? You know what? I'm going to run for president. I want to be the first Asian American president of the United States of America. If I'm president, major changes. The White House, yellow.
Jamie's journey as a stand-up comedian started on a dare while at university. He graduated in 1991 and initially wanted to make it a full-time career. However, things didn't go very well.
New York City was so difficult, so it was so competitive. And also one time in 1992, I did a show, packed house, and I froze, right? I blanked on stage. So that affected me mentally. So I could not do it again for like 8 years.
During that period, he tried to stay away from the stage and took on a full-time job as a retail manager until 2001.
9/11 happened in 2001 in Chinatown, September 11. I saw everything with my own eyes with the World Trade Center. And it changed my life. So I knew that I needed to do something else besides retail, because to me, that was a job. Life was too short, and I needed to make sure that to do what was destined for me. I believe that this is my calling to do comedy and to bring more laughter and joy to people's lives. So I quit my day job in 2003, and I decided to go full steam ahead with stand-up comedy no matter what.
In the subsequent years, he resumed his performances and did a series of comedy shows in his neighborhood to help bring back nightlife and revitalize New York City's Chinatown after the 9/11 attacks. The shows were sold out, and that gave him the confidence to expand the business. So in 2007, he opened a comedy club in Hong Kong.
So this is a little wall of fame, and I remember when we first opened, I just had my picture up here. And now through the years, we've added all these pictures, so we have all these professional comedians up here and local comedians that After performing for 10 years, I've earned the right to be on our wall. Here in Hong Kong, we're hitting an untapped market. A lot of people here have never experienced live stand-up comedy before. In the beginning, we always ask, first time in our club, many people raise their hand. A lot of people call me, ask me how much is membership because of the word club. Do you have stand-up comedy tonight? Yes. Oh, would there be chairs? I don't want to stand around for 2 hours. No, we're laughing, but yet they don't know. They think stand-up comedy is they stand up.
That's also when he realized the need to educate local people about stand-up comedy, a fairly recent entertainment form that's popular in the West, as well as the need to start finding and teaching local talents.
When you are up here, what's your job? Anybody, simply.
Make people laugh.
That's it.
Today, he has 5 students coming to his comedy class.
It's the minuscule stuff that I really learned here. Even the stages, the lights, and all these things.
Ferdinand Aldo, an Indonesian living in Hong Kong, is in this class for the first time.
I used to study in HKUST. Now I'm working as a consultant in a supply chain solution company. I want to be funny, I want to be captivating towards people, and I want to entertain them and make them comfortable with me. Helps a lot of ways.
Another student, Jason Chan, has been doing stand-up comedy in Germany for some time and has recently moved back to look for similar opportunities in Hong Kong.
I think it's a form of stress release. It's like other people, they go through midlife crisis, they do a marathon, I do comedy.
He finds the class helpful as well.
The most important thing I learned was that the pause is as important as the jokes and the punchlines. So I think a lot of times we forget that we don't have to speak all the time. Yeah. And this actually is very helpful for my day job too, because I teach, and we have something called teacher talking time. We want to decrease the teacher talking time, and so I think it's quite similar.
All right, what a great mix of people we have here.
Timothy To, a Chinese Canadian, attended the comedy class to get ready for his debut in Hong Kong.
If you're getting into a career, you want to find out more. You want to dive deep as you can into it. Jamie got to share a lot of his experiences, which is really cool, right? And I guess it's rare to get that long history, right, from, you know, just chatting when you casually chat, right? So having a sit down in a class, it's a good way to pick it up.
He understands that becoming a full-time comedian in Hong Kong is relatively challenging, but has made up his mind to dive in.
In general, compared to like New York or other cities, it's a pretty young scene. So it's pretty cool to be part of that growth. I think we're you know, hitting a good stride right now. So we'll see what happens next. I'll try to do 1 or 2 shows a week, and then open mic every week, right? So there's another 2. So yeah, like 4 times a week. Because the scene's still growing, there's not really a lot of money in it.
Let's talk about some of the terms, okay? I love teaching the basics of stand-up comedy, right? You gotta walk before you run. A lot of people think they're funny. Everyone's funny, but are you able to make strangers laugh? At a bar, there's no pressure, but on stage, when people pay money, the spotlight is on you and there's pressure and you're being timed, right? It's hard to do.
Jamie estimates that he has taught over 1,000 students over the past 16 years and still counting.
Today is actually my 120th class. I see them coming into this club for the first time, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. I see them all change and progress before my very eyes, and I'm so proud of them. When I was doing comedy, I yearned to get on HBO, The Tonight Show, Comedy Central, right? To become a professional touring comedian, right? But because of New York City, with their 2,000 to 3,000 professional comedians, it was so competitive. So I knew I tried, but you know what? Hopefully one of my students will become huge, do more than what I could have done.
In the past few years, Jamie has seen more and more comedy shows pop up around Hong Kong. Some of his previous comedians have started forming shows and competing with him, but he thinks it's all good.
Like in New York City, where there are like 15 to 20 full-time comedy clubs, I always thought, what if Hong Kong had a bunch of shows all over Hong Kong? That'd be great also. So in a way, that is happening now, and I'm happy. So if it's not me, someone else, but it's a team effort, at the end of the day, no matter what, We are trying to bring more laughter, healing, fun, relieving stress to Hong Kong people.
Here's the thing about Singaporeans. If you ask a Singaporean a question, they will always answer with a question. I asked a guy, I'm like, hey, excuse me, sir, where can I get a taxi? He goes, taxi? Why you take taxi? What cannot, man? Your feet not working, is it? I'm like, sorry, dude. I'll leave you alone now. Okay. Why are you sorry? Why you leave me alone? How come you Hong Kong people so sensitive? Welcome to Hong Kong.
Up next, how the music industry, from musicians, venues, and promoters, are faring post-COVID. Stay with us. Welcome back to Pearl Magazine. As we approach almost a year of no pandemic restrictions, live music is finally back in Hong Kong. Venues that survived are feeling the change in people's habits and having to find ways to entice people to come out, away from their screens and food delivery, and stay out at night to appreciate the local music talent. I spoke with venues and musicians to see how they are dealing with a post-COVID gig scene.
I think after 3 years of between being locked down and having to be home by 6 and then 10 o'clock, you know, we all are creatures of habit.
Nightlife, it was packed every night. Not like right now, it's different, it's empty. Just packed on the weekends, yeah.
Because during COVID, the people who were doing okay, they kitted out their home really nicely, right? So now, the idea of going out and standing in a crowded place where they might not get a seat, and then it might be a hassle to get a taxi afterwards, it's a challenge.
John Primer of The Wanch, a music venue that's been around for over several decades, says people are slowly starting to stay out past midnight to listen to the bands. He adds that he's benefited by the pivot the business made during COVID of turning the place from a pure music venue and bar to a restaurant.
We have noticed more of a demographic switch because we're getting a lot of the young professionals that are coming in. And they come in for lunch, and a lot of times I get, oh, is that you on the wall? I'm like, yeah. So, you know, and it's piqued a lot of guys' interest. A lot of times they're seeing that the bands are either all Chinese or they have Chinese members. And I think to them that's a bit of a shock also, because a lot of people here, when you associate music, you think of the Filipino community, you think of Westerners, and that's healthy for the music scene. It's very healthy, because we're reaching out to new people and new audiences.
He says more local bands are being formed, and this brings a new audience. At the Aftermath, owner Alicia Beale says there is a community of musicians and artists that gather there, and lots of new bands have formed during the pandemic.
Hong Kong has a very thriving independent music scene, bands making great original music of all different genres, but people just don't know it. It's not in front of them.
Getting people to come out is the challenge. Alicia says she noticed the ticketed events by promoters were doing better than their free music nights, so she decided to experiment with ticketed theme nights at her venue.
Well, I think when you have a ticketed event, you put in more promotion, the word gets out more, and also people mark it down in their calendar. So we started these signature Aftermath events like our Punk Fest. We're pushing our Battle of the Bands to introduce new bands to Hong Kong. And those were all ticket events that were actually really successful.
But even though these events do well, the run-up to them can be stressful, as people tend to book at the last minute, leaving promoters in the dark about whether the event will be a loss or a profit.
It's so nerve-wracking putting on events because of that. So you're like trying to keep a sense of what's the pace. Are we selling 1 ticket a day, 2 tickets a day? We haven't sold any tickets today. Oh no, like nobody's gonna come. And really for our Bad Boys of Asian Comedy, it was really like suddenly we'll sell 20 tickets and then no tickets. Second to last day of the show, we sold the most tickets. Suddenly we sold out. And people were like, hey, can I get tickets? Can I get tickets? And we're like, no, we're sold out. Where were you guys like 3 weeks ago?
Thank you very much.
Musician and promoter Chris B., who runs the Musicians Foundation charity, adds that the number of venues offering live music has dropped by about 20% post-COVID.
Post-COVID, it seems the government has been very quick to like, here you go, full business registration, full tax, full this and that, and forgetting that we had 3 years of hardship. Some people have not recovered. It's really tough, and it seems the government has just swept it under the carpet and like we move on.
We've lost a lot of venues that supported the local scene. The venues also need the support of the community. It's great to support the bands, and yes, you got to support the bands, but you also have to support the venues so we can all continue.
And while the venues that survived fight to stay open and host musicians, musicians are happy to finally be able to get back to full-time work. Kylie has her own band, but also freelances as a bassist. She has gigs about 4 times a week.
My team got a lot, around 10 to 15 people. We just, we play pop song, we play, sometimes we play jazz. Even some client, they request Chinese opera.
But the hardship she endured during COVID is still fresh on her mind. With no work as a musician, she ran through most of her savings, even while working whatever part-time jobs she could get.
Even last year, September, my bank account just only 3,000. So every day I just think, what can I do? I feel nervous, I worry my future. I sold a lot my music instrument, just like some bass and keyboard. If I don't sell it, I cannot support my life.
She eventually got a certificate to teach music as well as a business degree and began teaching music regularly. Today, she is able to let go of this and work as a full-time musician, but has chosen not to.
I'm still teaching because that is my regular income. Now I feel more safety.
Kylie teaches music 4 days a week on top of being a musician. She says the fee for gigs hasn't changed pre-COVID. She's trying to rebuild her savings.
I want to charge more, but you know, this is a business world. So many competition. So maybe next year, but this year I think I cannot increase my charge.
Charles Tidal, a guitarist, worked in food delivery during COVID. Like Kylie, he likes having the option to keep doing this anytime the gigs run low.
Yeah, it's a safety net, I guess, yeah. Just in case, you know, it will happen again, God forbid. Yes, I make more, but I don't feel like making more because of these debts and, you know, back pays, all those dues. Pandemic time, yeah.
He says he has regular bar and club gigs during the week, at least 3 to 4. And he leaves weekends open for events like weddings and corporate functions because they pay more.
The other like events and functions pays better on the weekends, 100% more.
So twice as much.
Yeah.
Chris says people and businesses have been contacting the charity to find musicians for their events. She says this is good since she can find a fair price for both parties.
It's fantastic because the charity can help set the fee so that the hotel thinks it's reasonable because it's from a charity and the musicians are earning a reasonable income.
And venues share the struggle to survive with musicians. Aftermath does a profit share with musicians who play at their venue.
For the free nights, it works on a bar split system, where if we make money at the bar, we'll give you a percentage of that. For the ticketed events, That's a bit different. The ticket money goes to the band.
Alicia says she's happy to see the band succeed and gain fans. She says it's important for the industry that bands get recognition. While many people go out to listen to bands based on the genre, whether it's 80s, rock, metal, or pop, it's better when bands gain a following.
How to help these bands who are really great, professional quality bands, excellent fun times. How do we get more people to follow them and to know them? Would it be so much better if people are like, hey, you know, I've heard of this band before. I love Shamking Mansion. I'm going to come down and I'm going to, you know, just enjoy them because I know their music.
While the government is making moves to kickstart the night economy, a lesson from the Korean government's promotion of its own music and pop culture could be learned here.
I think the Korean government was exceptionally clever. They made it illegal to do counterfeiting, and they put into place so that the people writing music would be paid for it, people performing would be paid for it. They looked after their creative artists and then put money into them so they could travel overseas with them. They supported their creative sector. And now, I think BTS alone is 1% of the Korean GDP. It does show, you know, believing and investing in creativity can actually pay off. I hear our chief executive, John Lee, actually loves music and live performance. This is what I've been told. So I hope he gets to watch your show and realize that there is a melting pot of, you know, local nationalities, different nationalities.
If we could have more people coming here for our music scene, from KL, from Singapore, from Manila, from around Southeast Asia and around the world, I think that would be great.
That's our show for this week. Join us on Pearl Magazine, same time next week. Bye for now.